Hello, in today's lesson we're going to be learning how to write the three middle paragraphs of a opinion essay. And so what you're going to need is you're going to need your completed Oreo graphic organizer filled out. Make sure that it's completely filled out. If not, you need to go back to Monday's lesson and read the directions on how to fill out your Oreo graphic organizer. And also remember that you are completing an opinion essay on the opinion that real Christmas trees are better. I'm doing an example essay, and my opinion is that artificial trees are better. So make sure that you are writing your opinion essay on the reasons and evidence that we did in our live lesson, that artificial Christmas trees are not better than real Christmas trees. So your opinion is that real Christmas trees are better. So as you can see, I have three reasons as to why artificial Christmas trees are better, and I've written them down, and I have found evidence from the text and evidence from my own personal experience. So make sure that you have all of this filled out. And what you're going to do is you're also going to want this paper right here. This paper is below the video, and this has ways to cite the author, cite text, because we need to cite the text. Every single one of your middle paragraphs needs to have cited text evidence. And on the left-hand side where it says do write, these are ways that you can cite the author. You can say according to the text. In paragraph 2, the author states, based on this information. For instance, so there's so many ways that you can cite text, and they're all right here. There's even some examples of how it looks. So you can use this as a resource, okay? So this is going to be below the video. You can pause the video and print it out if you need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these middle paragraphs, and as you can see, we're going to be writing the middle paragraph right here, number 1. These are the 4 requirements that you need to have for your middle paragraphs. You need to have an introductory sentence that introduces your reason. So your introductory sentence for your first middle paragraph needs to introduce reason number 1. You need to give 2 to 3 pieces of evidence. They can be from the text and from your own experience. You need to at least have 1 from the text, and you can have 1 from your own experience. And you need a concluding sentence. So make sure that you have concluded your paragraph and you're not leaving the reader hanging, wondering where's the rest of the information. So these are the 4 requirements that you need to have for your middle paragraphs. So let's go ahead and let's see how a middle paragraph should be set up. So as you can see, my first reason is that artificial Christmas trees are easier to take care of. That was my reason. And the evidence, I have evidence from myself, my own personal life, and I have evidence from the texts that we read. From my personal life, I've said every year my family and I constantly have to vacuum around the tree. It's true. Every time somebody bumps into the tree, walks past the tree, when we decorate it, when we bring it in the house, when we have to get under it to give it water, we have to vacuum because pine needles fall everywhere. And so that's my own personal experience. Inside the quotation marks, you can see I took from the text that real trees can dry out and drop their needles. Sap from real trees can end up on the floor and on Christmas tree ornaments. Also, real trees need to be watered. So I have both evidence from my own personal experiences and from the text to help me create my first middle paragraph. So I've introduced my reason. I have said, one of the reasons I believe that artificial trees are better than real Christmas trees is because they are easier to take care of. It's true. They're easier to take care of. That is what my opinion is for writing. So I have introduced what my first reason is. I've said one of the reasons. So this is one of my reasons. I've introduced that it is a reason, and I've explained it. I've explained what my opinion is and why. Now I need to go ahead and add in some evidence. So I've added in the textual evidence. So right here, what's highlighted, I said, according to the author. That is me citing that I got this information from somebody other than me. This is the author of the text that we read for this assignment. So according to the author, and then I put the author's exact words. So that means I need to put quotation marks around it. And I said, according to the author, and the author said, real trees can dry out and drop their needles. Sap from real trees can end up on the floor and on Christmas tree ornaments. So I have cited evidence from the text and I've added in a direct quotation. And this even shows that real Christmas trees cause a lot of work. They're harder to take care of because their needles drop, sap gets everywhere. That shows why my reason is correct. So that's evidence that I have found from the text. Now I can add in some evidence from my own personal experience. And so what I wrote is I said every year my family and I bought real Christmas trees. We would have to vacuum the floor at least once a day to pick up all the needles. It can be a real pain and hassle. So I've given evidence from my own personal life that backs up my reason. This evidence supports my reason that real Christmas trees are hard to take care of and artificial trees are easier. Artificial trees don't lose their needles. They don't have sap. So I've really supported that opinion. So my last sentence says you also have to water the tree and make sure it's healthy. That's another piece of evidence that I have added in. So you have to water it and make sure it's healthy. That's a lot of work. So my concluding sentence says, if you ask me, it is better to have an artificial tree so you can spend more time with family and eating holiday treats. So this paragraph, I have an introductory sentence that explains my reason. I have cited evidence from the text. I have cited my own evidence. I've given some extra details, and I have a concluding sentence. This is my first middle paragraph for reason number 1 from my Oreographic Organizer. That's reason number 1, and I've added in my evidence. Now I need to move on to my second middle paragraph. My second middle paragraph is going to be reason number 2. So I have my reason number 2 listed, and my reason number 2 is you don't have to spend hours each year looking for a new tree. Because if you had an artificial tree, you could just pull it out of the attic. Pull it out of your storage box whenever you're ready to put it up. You don't have to go searching for it. And you have it perfectly. It's the perfect shape, the perfect size that you want. You're not going to have any lopsided ones. So I have my reason and my evidence right here. Now I can write my second middle paragraph. Again, this has the same requirements. I need an introductory sentence. I need some evidence and concluding sentence. So my first sentence, I'm going to explain my reason. I've said another reason. So instead of saying one reason over, one reason over, one reason over, I'm changing up how I transition to a new paragraph. So in my last paragraph, I said one of the reasons. In my second paragraph, I'm saying another reason that you should choose an artificial tree over a real Christmas tree is you won't have to spend hours at the store or tree farm looking for the perfect tree. Because guess what? It's already in your attic. So I've introduced my reason. Now I'm going to add in some evidence. And my evidence right here. I don't know about you, but I love to have a perfect tree that is the same size on each side and is not lopsided. A lopsided tree can come crashing to the ground. So this is my own personal belief and my own personal experience because this year my husband and I bought a real Christmas tree and we put it up, we decorated it, and when we woke up in the morning, our tree had crashed on the ground and all of our decorations were off of it. So from experience, I know that lopsided trees can come crashing down. So that is part of my evidence. I've also stated evidence from the text. I have paraphrased and I have quoted. I've paraphrased, which means I've put it in my own words, and I've quoted a phrase. So I've said, the author explains, so I cited where I got my information. The author explains in the text that people can pull their perfect tree out of the attic or closet whenever they are ready to set up. It is the exact tree they want, and they can use it year after year. So year after year is the direct quote from the article. The rest of it I've paraphrased and put it into my own words. So I have given my introductory sentence. I've listed my evidence. Now I need my concluding sentence. And my concluding sentence says, this to me sounds like the better choice when it comes to Christmas trees. So I've tied up my article. That's my second article, or my second paragraph, sorry. Now I need to move on to my third middle paragraph, which is going to be my third reason and evidence. My third reason is that you don't have to spend the money every year on a new tree. So trees can be expensive. They're $60 to $100 when you buy a real tree. Some can be a little bit cheaper, around $40 if you get a good deal, but they're very expensive to get good trees. And so every year having to spend that money can be a lot. So I have evidence that was pulled from the text, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it into my third middle paragraph. Again, I have the same requirements. It has to have an introductory sentence, evidence, and a concluding sentence. So I've introduced my last reason, and as you can see, my transition, I've changed it up. I said my last but not least reason for choosing an artificial tree is that in the long run, they can save you hundreds of dollars. So over the years, they save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I've added in evidence from the text. It says, in the article, the author explains that when you buy an artificial tree, you only have to pay for the tree once. If you decide to go with the real Christmas tree, you have to pay for a tree every year. So that's the evidence that I got from the text, and I paraphrased it. It put it into my own words, but I have cited the author because I said in the article, the author explains. I've cited that, and then I paraphrased. And then I've added some more details. Every year, I've explained what my evidence supports. Every year, you are spending money on gifts and food to share with your family. You don't want to have to add an extra cost to your budget, so I'm just reinforcing why I have this reason. And then I've done my concluding sentence. An artificial Christmas tree is the cheapest way to go and will save you lots of money. So I've concluded my paragraph. So your three middle paragraphs have to have an introductory sentence, evidence, and a concluding sentence. Those are the requirements for those three middle paragraphs. So go ahead and take this time. You can review this video, but go ahead and write your three middle paragraphs and make sure you have these requirements.